Hello and welcome to another episode of Honest to a Malt with myself, Duncan Donuts, now almost a pro painter and decorator, and Mike, aka Tupuds, who is now in mental, not actual training to become handball world champion and who genuinely believes he can eat a slice of dry toast in under 3 seconds. All right, Mike?
Yeah. Hello, everyone. Turns out I can't. That world record, as shit as it sounds,
8
pretty
seconds.
difficult.
When you told me you had a go,
Yeah.
I was just thinking to myself, like, I'd love to have been there just to see the disappointment on your face when you realised how mind-bendingly difficult it is to eat a slice of dry toast in under 10 seconds.
I can clearly link it to another occasion in my life where I've been overconfident. I was out in Bermuda after I'd done a bit of travelling, staying at my mate's gaff, and we were in his pool, chatting away. And he goes, how long do you reckon you could stay underwater for? And I was like, 4 minutes.
4
and
minutes?
He's like, 4 minutes.
That's like world champion level.
Well, if you can do 4, I reckon I can do 4.5. And all right, then, fine. So we both like calmed our breathing and then both sunk to the bottom of the pool and just like stopwatch going. 30 seconds, as it turned out.
I'd imagine you could probably hold your breath for 30 seconds now, so it feels like you just panicked.
Yeah. So over the course of that week, I think I got up to about 1:20, which I was actually quite happy about. But
that's pretty good.
That was like all I did in the day while he was at work was sit in the pool and slow my breathing down.
When we were in Mexico, and it was all very, very alpha competitive at one of these hostels we stayed at.
Yeah.
And there's all like the surfer guys, like, trying to outdo each other. I remember people had a pool competition and I stayed out of it. I was just sitting chilling by the side. But one of them managed to stay underwater for something like 2.5 minutes. And I remember just thinking, should we get them?
Yeah, are they dead?
This feels too long, right? And it's like 2.5 minutes isn't very long, but when you're watching somebody underwater, you're like, you can't get your head around how they're managing it. Or it might have even been 3 minutes. It was a long time.
Pretty long time, to be fair. So, yeah.
Yeah,
equally humbling. Handball, still convinced. There's nothing going to convince me less that I can't play Olympic level handball. You haven't learned your
lesson about overconfidence, no?
No. When I'm able to throw an object without throwing my back out, I'm there.
You're there. Okay, fair enough.
I've already looked at teams within the UK and how I can get into
into one of them. Well, I'm sure they'll be calling you up just based on your level of confidence.
Maybe they've listened to the pod. Who knows?
Who knows?
Yeah.
I'll tell you who has listened to the pod, the Olympic Committee, because for the next Olympics in LA, baby, they are including squash and cricket.
Yes.
Yeah.
Literally. I think Luke must have had a little nudge and gone, these boys are onto an idea here.
Someone's had a word, haven't they? But very disappointed to see they have left out obstacle swimming. So I feel like they've left out the best one. Yeah,
they should also include 5-meter diving, and you have to get a brick from the bottom of the pool. So not only have you got to do a really good dive,
you've got to get a brick.
Then get down, get the brick, and you do it in pajamas.
You've got to in pajamas, and you have to pick a lock at the bottom. You have to use an underwater TV, and you have to change the channel on. You have to get it from Netflix to Amazon Prime, right? On a TV remote that you've never seen before, like one of those like universal ones where you can't work out what's going on.
I wonder if we could come up with because like tougher than the Olympics, real life Olympics. I'm sure people. Yeah.
But not with unpicking a safe underwater after lifting up a brick at the end of a dive. So, Mike, what's the episode title today?
We are episode 68, and the episode is called Hot Pair Balloons. Now, you mentioned we did it as a topic or a segment in the previous episode, and we hadn't actually covered it ourselves. So
yeah, we have
in
to.
its own right. It's got to have a little run through from just us two. So
we've got to ease it in, bring it to life.
That's where we are. So that's what we're doing today.
So what's been in your glass and what's been up your arse the last week, Mike?
What's in your glass? What's been in my glass? Not a great deal. I went out midweek, caught up with Billy Abbott, Elise, and Diego, the Sherry Hound. We ended up going for barbecue, meat, and beers.
Sounds all right.
Yeah, no whiskies in town, so that was there. But Diego did go to the States recently and picked me up some George Dickel white corn whiskey. So it's just raw spirit. It has been watered down to 45%, but
Still pokey.
It's what cowboys would have drunk back in the day. Do you know what I mean?
That's pretty cool.
And it's wild. It actually smells really nice. It smells.
How similar is that to like poaching or whatever, or is it
poaching?
Poaching, yeah.
Do you know what?
Poaching.
Very similar. It's got sort of appley undertones for me and a bit of lime on there as well.
But just dialed back bits, so it's not going to make you blind.
Yeah. It's not quite at full strength. Palate wise, there is a hint of sort of mezcal-y tequila on it. Not going to lie, which, some people would like that. Very similar to sort of the Blanco.
That
tequila note that you get. Some people don't like. It's
in the young tequila.
Yeah. In the unaged tequilas. So obviously, brand new oak is going to lessen those things down and make it all sweet and
still cool to try it though, isn't it?
But yeah, really, I really appreciated the bottle. I gave him the leftover samples from the Glasgow Tokai and cognac, which he approved of. So yeah, it does prove giving people samples, even if they're half gone. Some people appreciate if the whiskey's good.
100%, because then you get to try more whiskey, don't you, that way?
Exactly that.
There's any harm in that at all. I still dish out some leftover samples to people locally, so they get to try more whiskey. Right?
And what's been up my arse is, it's not really up my arse, it's more disappointment that I didn't think of this in the first place. So I need to give quick reference to the Kendi and Raybo podcast, which is an Irish podcast. And somehow it ended up on my algorithm on Instagram. And they were chatting about Guinness 0%.
Right.
And an unnamed golf club in Ireland, when people order a 0% Guinness, they give them that. Comes out of a can. You can't get it on draft.
Okay, yeah, you can't get it on draft.
But then they let it settle, and they top the pint up with real Guinness.
Right. So it's not 0%.
It's not 0%, but it basically means you can have 6 or 7 of these, and it changes the taste profile apparently massively. So I am going to try that at some point.
So it's a can of 0.0, just topped up at the end.
Topped up, just like a lager top, but opposite, you know what I mean? Yeah. So, it's not my arse. I didn't think of that because I think that's genius. Because you could then...
That is genius.
Yeah. It's going to make that 0% just taste thicker, creamier, nicer. I'm assuming. I hope so. What a fucking absolutely fantastic idea.
Have you seen the advert? They've done a great advert, which I saw recently on Sky, because I've paid for the first month of the football. Because I've got, I'm not going to...
You've paid to pretend to be a football fan?
Yeah, I've paid to pretend to be a football fan.
You know.
It feels like I'm all in on this.
Give up this facade.
It feels like I'm all in on it. So generally, I don't pay for the football. I'll go to a pub, I'll listen to it on the radio, I'll watch the highlights.
Yeah,
because I actually could watch some of the football this weekend for the first time in ages. I thought I could watch 3 games. I'll just pay for it for a month.
Yeah.
Then I can watch the F1 next weekend. I start getting excited. So because I'm now actually got, Sky or Now, whatever it is.
Because it's costing you something.
Yeah, because you're watching it. And I saw the advert for 0.0% Guinness. And again, Guinness is so good at advertising. It's like them playing football on a field on an island somewhere, some tiny island, obviously in Ireland somewhere. And it's the whole community's down there watching it. And afterwards, they all go to have 0.0% Guinnesses at the pub. And you're just watching it going, oh, yeah, I would drink that. I mean, I have drunk it. I know it tastes good, but they're just the best.
But now, you don't necessarily need to. You've got something even better.
So let's try it then. Let's go to a pub and get a 0.0% Guinness and topped up with actual Guinness.
Yeah, get a half if they moan, and then we'll go from there. I think that's absolute quality. So, what has been in your glass and what has been up your jacksy?
It's a nice day on Sunday in the evening, so I sat and I just had Tumblr Club, #Tumblr Club, and I had the rest of the Tokai from Glasgow on ice, which works so well because it does well with a splash of water anyway. And there's a little bit of dilution, just takes the edge off it slightly and lets some of the Tokai flavours come through. It was nice chilled, and it's strong enough, that whiskey and flavour profile, that it honestly still had loads of flavour packed into it, even though I had it on ice.
Yeah.
And then I had a whiskey and ginger wine Wolfies, finished that bottle off. So thanks so much for the Wolfies bottle.
Nice.
I've been drinking a bit of this Compass Box Nectarosity.
Yep.
So very orangey. Seems like a really good blend. I was saying to you, it's got like 30% Cameron Bridge in it, 7% Balmenic. There's 20+% Clynelish in there. It's really
We have been
wacky.
Sent full bottles for full disclosure for everyone.
100%.
For an up-and-coming podcast.
I've been trying that and get to know it. I've just opened up a bottle of English Whiskey Distillery, which I bought from auction. But the main thing really was blind drams, which I feel like we should talk about afterwards because it was quite a significant blind drams for me. So that's mostly what's been in my glass, other than 5 blind drams and whatever I had before and after blind drams. But what's been up my arse is, have you seen a film called Arthur the King? It's got Mark
Are you
Wahlberg
trying
in
to
it.
say Arthur with an
Arthur.
F, like a Londoner? Or
Arthur.
do you mean
Arthur.
the letter?
So Arthur.
Arthur.
Like King
Arthur
Arthur.
King. Yeah, I thought you meant...
It's called Arthur the King. That might be what's confusing you.
No,
Point is,
it's your accent. It's because you're a fucking lander. You don't pronounce anything. It's R, the letter, for King. And I'm going, what? No, Arthur King.
Okay, Arthur.
Or is he just really small?
So I'm so sorry. It's Arthur the King.
Got it. No, I haven't seen it.
Arthur the King has Mark Wahlberg in it, and Mark Wahlberg is with a dog, and it's a real story. It's a real story based on for a run, and they're doing this really tough event. It's his last time ever. He's getting old. He still seems really fit. He has to really work hard to pull the team back together. And when they're doing this endurance event, competing against other teams somewhere in like Central or South America, somewhere along the way, this dog that's been really mistreated, not looked after, he feeds it a couple of meatballs and then it won't leave him alone. True story, the dog runs 354 miles.
They must have been decent meatballs.
I know. But here's the thing. This is what really annoyed me. I won't spoil it for anybody.
Yeah. Just a quick interruption here. When Duncan says he's not going to spoil a film, what he actually means is he's 100% going to spoil a film. So, if you have any interest in watching this film, skip forward 1 minute and 35 seconds and thank me later. Cheers.
All I'll say is that there's not many times when I watch a movie or a film, if you're a movie, if you're American, film, if you're English, and it makes me cry. And because it's a film about a dog that you could think could die at any time, you know it's like with dogs become
That dog dies, Duncan. I don't watch films where the dog dies.
What they do is they keep...
Do I need to watch this film, Duncan? Yes or no?
I think yes. Point
No,
is,
the dog's clearly going to fucking die. I'm not watching it, you prick.
it made me cry about 5 or 6 times.
Nope.
And here's the bit that was up my arse. Not the fact that I had a bit of a cry. I remember my dad crying to EastEnders. It's okay to have a cry occasionally. So it's not that I cried. It's not that I cried. Although I do think that they kept pushing the cry button too much. I'd like to know what less strong human beings would. I mean, I'm not saying I'm mad strong, but people who are even more into dogs than I mean, I would like to see somebody
dogs
else,
over people. Do you know what I mean?
100%. So there I am watching it. I'm like, oh my god, I'm in bits. And then Leo, my dog, is looking at me. I was watching it on my own in Suffolk. He's watching me. He's looking over his shoulder back at me. He's like, what the fuck is wrong with you? He's just giving me eyes. I couldn't tell if it was like, should I call a doctor?
Yeah.
Or I'm so disappointed in you.
Yeah.
That you
Who
can't
cares
hold
if
it
he's
together. Who
died?
cares about that scraggly dog on the TV? I'm here in person.
Oh, mate.
Or in
I'm
doggy
getting
person.
upset just even thinking about a dog. I don't even know what it looks like, but it's died. I'm fuming. I can't believe you brought that
that's
up.
my top tip. If you have,
You're up my arse. That's what's up my arse this week. Bringing that shit up. Fuck me, dead
Oh,
dogs.
we should say as well before we get on to discussing blind drams.
Yeah.
Is well done to Cliff, who was able to name another water source.
Yes.
Another distillery named after a water source.
Yeah.
What was it that Sir Cliff came up with, Mike?
Bear with, because we had a few.
Did we? Oh, wow.
Yeah, a couple of different ones.
Whilst you're doing that, this nectarosity is super, super orangey, isn't it?
I got loads of chalky notes on it as well, like limestone.
Yeah, limestone, I could see that.
People think it's weird, limestone, but as a geology person who used to split rocks and things, that's where I get it from.
The waxiness is there from the Klein Leash, for sure.
It's Gordon Neatdrams said,
Okay.
Glen Turret and the River Turret.
Yeah.
I put the VAR sign in a reply to his tweet.
Yep.
And he said, actually, I think it's Loch Turret, but it's all the same water. So Loch Turret, Glen Turret. I'm going to say no, because it's
not fully the same distillery.
It's not called Loch Turret.
Maybe one.
Close.
Gram.
Yeah. It's a questionable, maybe your kneecap is just offside.
Gordon will send you 1 dram next.
Yeah.
It's like a podium. This is like a podium finish. And then we're closing the competition.
You would definitely say, but yeah, Cliff flew in there with Glenn Glassow.
Yeah. So Cliff gets 2 drams.
Cliff gets 2 drams. Yeah. So there we are.
Right.
But thank you for engaging. It was actually wonderful. We had some really good engagement this
was
week
nice.
with people. So
People are talking about their favourite chocolate bars, I think.
yeah, Andrew Pad Whiskey trying to cheat by doing whiskey liqueurs doesn't count.
Doesn't count. We need to keep the chocolate bar thing going because we've still got some time until Colin from Tipsy Midge comes on.
Yeah.
Right. So we need to keep
Billy
that
was
one
basically
going.
saying whiskey and giant chocolate buttons. He said any whiskey, it doesn't matter.
Anything and giant chocolate buttons, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah,
exactly
I can
that.
imagine Billy just sitting in front of the TV with a giant pack of chocolate buttons, eating it like it's crisps.
Yeah, Brian VR46 on X said Lindt milk chocolate, not the dark chocolate. Caramel sea salt pretty much goes with any whiskey.
Yeah, caramel sea salt. Yeah,
great shout. So yeah, keep the chocolate recommendations coming.
But well done to Gordon and to Cliff. If you think that you still can think of another distillery that's named after a water source,
exactly
after a water source, then let us know. But well done to Gordon, Neat Drams, and to Cliff.
Yep.
Also, continual thanks to Cliff for the music clip at the end of last episode.
Yes,
one where he was singing about Glasgow.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
that was good. Liked it. Thank you, Cliff.
Yeah, thanks, Cliff. So another thing that's been annoying me, and this is really just more of it's another Springbank drop, and we're all given into the fact that you can't get it. Remember, we did an episode about the 5 stages of grief to get over not being able to get a Springbank. It has got increasingly difficult. Yeah. But this time I did really want an 18. It's fully Burbs cask. I was like, oh, I'd love that. So I was paying attention for the Master Malt drop. Now, I have to be honest, I spent a considerably less amount of time than I would ever usually spend. I really limited my time. But I was looking, and when I saw the 15 dropped or the 10 dropped or whatever, I thought, okay, it's coming. You can kind of go on and see how many people are looking at it and get a read on whether it's going to come soon.
Yeah.
But I wasn't sitting there going refresh. I was just kind of tuning. And for some reason, I must have hit the screen as the 18 was available. I got it into the basket, and it had sold out by the time I'd connected my PayPal to go and pay.
Amateur.
I live with it. But my request is this. Why can't retailers, and to be fair, I love Master Malt, so this is not a criticism over of Master Malt. I think you do a great job. A couple of things I think you could do better, but, hey. But my main thing is generally retailers, especially Master Malt, I don't understand why they can't just say what time they're going to put this Springbank on, because it would only give real people a better chance. The bots are on the page all the time anyway, right? And all that means is it means people waste loads of their time and lives, the actual people, continually checking. And their website gets hammered for like a day or days instead. If they just said, it's being released on this day at this time, be there, and you've got a chance, then people would do that. And then their website would only be smashed for like 20 minutes instead of continually for like 2 days. So if you're listening, Master of Malt, we'd love to know why you and other retailers, but you're the biggest, don't just say what time and what day you're releasing this magical Springbank if you're going to allow the general public to buy it in some sort of competition.
Do what SMWS do, where it's in your basket for 10 minutes. If you haven't checked out fully,
that's a great idea as well.
Back into the mix.
So I would have had it, wouldn't I? I would have had it in that case. Yeah.
But, and then also, speaking of smashing Springbanks, as we're setting up for the pod, I was like, I'll lean over and take a little picture of just the drams I've got lined up as I was going to pod today. But I killed a bottle of Springbank 10, so I had the bottle upside down, balancing on its tip like a twat. And knocked the table as I went to go over there. Bottle falls off, glass falls off, whiskey everywhere, but I did manage to save just the last tiny drip of the end of the bottle. So yeah, for those that didn't get any Springbank 10, don't worry, I've spilt more on my floor today than probably it doesn't matter.
Whoops-a-daisy. So you missed Blind Drams on Saturday because you were out.
I was being social.
Weirdly, sociable.
I was social and I left the house. Can you believe it?
Well, good job. Yeah. But you missed it. Have you tried any of them yet?
So I've been led by you to try Dram 2, which there's no point doing it blind. You said it was Ardnamurchin Golden Barley?
Golden Barley cask. It says AD 0818, cask 1062, which I can't remember who it was bottled for, but it's this special Golden Barley and it's just absolutely bonkers. I've poured some.
So on the nose, do you remember the German chocolate squares that you used to get called Riesen or something?
Right, begins with an R.
It's like those, like the really rich chocolatey, they're taffy, they're sort of like chocolate nugget is how I can sort of describe it best. Super rich chocolate. I just get buckets of dark chocolate on the nose, and then palate-wise...
Hang on, wait for it on the nose. And Bovril. Or Marmite. Strongly. It's somewhere in between that chocolateness. Like once someone described it on the call, like a slice of toast with hazelnut, Nutella and Bovril. It's right in between sweet and savoury. It's so salty.
It's mental. Like on the palate as well. I just got, again, I'm assuming it's peated because it's Ardnamurchan, but
It is. I think it's slightly peated, yeah.
to me, again, it feels more heavy char than outright peat. So a very light smoke, I would have said. Blind. Palate-wise, chocolate gatto. It's like super rich fruit, like the most richest desserts I can think of in terms of chocolate and dark fruit.
But there's still a hint of that kind of Bovril or Marmite or almost like Ryvita hanging around the background.
I'm not getting it on the palate.
Oh, I get it a little bit, but it's
me.
less. It's less. I definitely see what you're saying about Black Forest Gatto or that type of thing. Your mind keeps tuning into different elements of it. But on the night, I scored this a 5.
Yeah.
And I was so excited to buy this one. Then I realised it's £95. And then I was like, as much as I love it, I've now got to think about it. Yeah, 95 quid. I think if it had been 70, 75, I'd have just pushed the button. But 95, I've really got to have a think about it. So I was going to use the rest of what I've got tonight to decide about whether I want a bottle or not.
See, I'd have put that as a 3 or a 4 just on this instant. I've literally only had a couple of sips because it's so rich and sickly.
Yeah, but I love that.
As a one-off dram, you'd have to spend a bit of time with it, yes. Not sure. It's not up there for a 5 for me, not a chance. But
can you see
3 or 4 borderline. I can see why some people would love it.
How interesting it's so rich, right?
Yeah.
And the weirdness of that kind of Marmite or Bovril alongside Black Forest Gatto or Nutella.
No. You could, if you had that in a restaurant with a Black Forest Gatto or a chocolate Gatto with cream and then whiskey poured over the top.
But I think you could have this with a broth as well. I could easily see myself having like a beef noodle broth and that. It's sweet because it's also savoury and salty.
Once you said beef noodle, I'm getting like beef pot noodle.
Yeah. But what I mean is it just keeps giving you different stuff.
Yeah.
It's just absolutely fascinating. So I love it when I try something blind like this that really is totally wacky but yet really drinkable. Yeah. So this Ardnamurchan gets a thumbs up from me. Cask 1062 AD 0818. Great choice. Should say it was Whiskey with Molly. Ben, it was his choice this time. He picked the first one was like a Campbelltown blend that was kind of hard to get, and that did okay. Overall sort of under indexed. Then it was the Ardna, then it was a Claxton's Glengarry 11-year-old. Then it was a North Star single cask Ben Nevis that I scored 4 out of 5. And when I found out the reveal and found out it was only £55, I bought a bottle immediately.
Okay.
Super chalky.
Yeah.
So, and you love chalk.
I love chalk. It always reminds me, and I say the note a lot. It's when, do you remember the fake cigarettes, like the white candy sticks? Straight away, get buckets of that on.
When we were trying this blind, people were saying it was giving them like Campbelltown vibes. There was so many different tasting notes going on, but overall did really well on the scoring. Just going to show how Ben Nevis can be both super interesting, loads of different flavours, nosy notes. That chalkiness, if you think about it, people went mad for the Anok 24 because it had flavour and it had that extra layer of chalkiness to it. You can get that level of chalkiness in this Ben Nevis for £55. So I bought a bottle straight away, even though I've already got 2 bottles of Ben Nevis 10 in and a bunch of like older stuff.
Did you say that's just straight Burbs cask?
No, it's an Oloroso cask actually.
Is it? Yeah,
Oloroso HDD. So
okay. Wow, I would have said bourbon on the nose, 100%.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's quite interesting, isn't it? Like the spirit is still coming through despite that. Maybe it's an Oloroso refill. Probably is. I think it's a refill.
I would have probably, from the nose, I would have guessed blind that was one of the like distiller's editions from Loch Lomond.
The official notes for it are nose, honey monster, peach cobbler, and carnation milk. Palate, butterscotch ice cream, creme caramel, and allspice. But I think that really undersells it. There was way more going on than that, including the chalkiness. So the really conservative tasting notes there, the official. Amazing finish on it. 55.4%. And it's just Series 24 North Star Spirits.
Slight hint of grapefruit on there for me.
That could be. I've finished mine
off
so
a little bit.
But I've got a bottle coming, so I shall try it when it opens. What I did do on the night, Mike, was I put it side by side against the official 10. Mm-hmm. And you can tell they're the same whiskey.
Nice, which is good.
Chalkiness is there in both of them. Obviously, there's a difference. One's 46%, one's 55.4%. But if you were trying, they would do really well in a flight together as a sort of evolution, single cask versus OB.
Yeah. No, decent.
Yeah, really good.
What was I going to say to you? Big sales continue online.
Yeah.
JPHA, they have got a big sale on.
I had a look at that. I didn't find anything that was really Maybe the Highland Park, but then it's 43%.
Balvenie 17-year-old weak peat, 90 quid plus an extra 10% off.
Oh, that's pretty good. So down to sort of £81.
Damn good. Yeah,
it's actually, that's a classy dram. I've had that before. Yeah.
And then I probably, if I was going to punt, you've got the Lafroig 10 cask strength batch 15. 53 quid, again, plus another 10% off. They're sat in my basket. They're hard to say no to at the moment.
Yeah, okay. We'll see how many drams we have tonight then.
Well, yeah, I'll be. If we're after midnight, it's coming in.
It's coming in, isn't it? After all,
yeah.
I bought that Ben Nevis now, so I should really behave.
So that's, like, again, we're just seeing the same thing. Sales from the distributor. And it goes in line with what we said was going to happen. Mm-hmm. Distilleries starting to fold.
Yeah, which is a real shame to see.
Have gone bankrupt. Like, we're not celebrating this. Don't get me wrong. It's
good. No, not at all. It's
as a whiskey buyer, it's good because we're going to see cheaper whiskey, more available because prices will inevitably go down if people start going, fucking hell, we have to get rid of stock and sell it.
But if a bunch of them fold, that's only going to affect supply overall. At the moment, there's so much supply. So I think that. But it does go to show that where they come under pressure to have to reduce price, costs are high. The cost of like producing whiskey's gone up because of electricity, energy.
And I would have thought McMira was sound because they had such a good cask purchasing scheme. You got to hope and pray people's casks are safe that they've paid into because they did a hell of a lot of investment where you could buy directly the casks. I looked at a few of them. Because there was so much customization you could do. Like, I want it aged in the caves. I want it aged here. I want this cask. I want this size. If they've gone bankrupt, I don't know how that works. Is that now property of the?
I have no idea.
The administrators.
I think all we can really say is that it would be interesting to hear what actually happens as a result in the fallout. So let's just keep an eye on it and see. And if anyone works for McMira that's listening to this, then we're really, really sorry for what's happened. For all of your hard work.
I'm blaming Dan from Somerton because he's recently announced he's got exclusive UK import rights and then less than 40 hours later they folded. So hopefully Dan's made a shit ton of money and sent the company bust, so at least Somerton's all right. Okay. Dan, I can't see it.
Business mogul Dan there picking up all the stock, getting in ahead. Buy low so high, that's business, isn't it?
Do you know what? There could be, if there is now a shit ton of casks going spare, then maybe he's picked up rights to get that in. So
we'll see.
Dan, let us know.
Yeah, let's see. So on to the main segment of the pod today then, hot air balloons. The premise is that you get to fly a hot air balloon anywhere you want around the world on this journey, Claire Vokins. Because journeys are a wonderful thing, and stop off in 3 countries.
Great word.
And in each of those countries, you get to have some food and pair it with a whiskey. So what we want to know is where we're going to stop, which countries we're going to visit, where we're going to eat, what we're going to eat, and what we're going to pair it with. Yeah. And I think you should start.
Should we go one each, or do you want to go all 3?
I think let's go one each.
Cool. Yeah. Okay. So I am starting. It has to be straight away. I'm taking that hot air balloon from Kent to Cardiff. I'm going back to my roots.
Back home.
I am going to go out in Cardiff. I'm going to get absolutely smashed in a Welsh branded hot air balloon. Yeah. And I'm going to go to Chippy Lane at about 2 a.m.
Lovely.
And get myself a Clark's pie.
What's that then?
I'm going to get chips,
that famous
gravy with cheese on top. Clark's pie is an exclusively made Cardiff pie. It is short crust pastry, thick, with a beef and onion mince filling, and it is absolutely stunning. Covered
beef and onion,
like I said, in chips, gravy, and cheese.
Oh, they just slather it on top.
Yeah, all in one big polystyrene.
Oh, lush.
Bad for the environment thing. So that has been my first, and the only dram I can think that would compete with a drunken evening of rugby watching, Clark's pie, chips, and gravy would be a Lacheg 10. It's got enough going on in there to keep it up, and it's a lovely whiskey.
Good to see you picking up the Lacheg.
Yeah, exactly. So that would be my first selection.
So you're going home, 100%. Basically. You won't have to get the last train home. You won't have to get the last train home because you've got a hot air balloon to fly off in.
Exactly. We can't mention Last Train Home in Wales anymore because of the lost profits, sadly. Yeah. Best song in the world, ruined. But hey, how about you, balloon boy? Where are you? What's your balloon going to be?
My first stop is going to be to go back to South Korea. I was having a think about
Nice.
this. Do I want to go to places that I've visited or places that I haven't visited? Like places that I've visited, I know what my favourite was, and it's not like I get to go there every week. I mean, they're fun times in my life. Places that I haven't visited, which there are some, of course. That's like the unknown. I think that, given the choice, I think I'd rather go back to places where I really loved, and then pair it with a whiskey that I really. So I'm going to go back to Korea, South Korea.
Which part?
I'm going to go just to Seoul. I mean, they're obviously lovely country. Could have gone to Busan on the south, or to Jeju Island and had something like
Oranges,
fish related. Yeah, but what I really want to do is I want to go and have some yangnyeom chicken, which is like spicy Korean chicken. Okay. Followed by, because I'm greedy and I want to have it with some beers and some soju, followed by a Korean barbecue with my favorite sides. So of all the Korean barbecue restaurants, of which there are thousands and thousands, of course, across Korea, it's their staple food. It's where you get the little grill in the middle of the table, and you know, you can cook your own beef and cook your own pork, and each restaurant does its own side dishes. So my favorite place was always this really classy establishment. I say central Seoul, kind of in the shopping district. But Seoul's such a big city, like 25 million people. It makes London look tiny, to be honest. So there's all these districts like there is in places like Tokyo or Beijing, these bigger cities, right?
Yeah.
So it's really what you call kind of the shopping district. And you have to walk slightly out of the shopping district where there's like people wandering around like 24/7 seemingly up a hill. As you're going up this hill, there's this lovely little Korean restaurant. And you remember they used to have the traditional rice cookers outside where they're cooking the rice outside in the little bamboo things. And immediately look at you go, oh, I hope this is as good as it looks. And you go in and traditionally you have to sit on the floor around the little tables. But the food, it always had a real charm about it, and the side dishes were amazing. And when you get to places like that, you usually treat yourself and have some sort of plum wine along with it. It's a sort of stronger wine, maybe about sort of 17, 18%, but it's made from plums. So I would pair the food with a Hibiki 12, which was made which obviously had plum casks in it. Now, I've tried this Hibiki 12 quite a few times because I once bought a bottle for one of my family, my brother-in-law, and he doesn't drink it. So it's just round his, and every time I go around, I have another glass of it. So I try it fairly regularly, and it really tastes of plums. So I would have that. I would pair that with a plum cask, and I'd have a lovely reminiscing evening of stuffing my face with traditional Korean food.
Obviously then followed up by a significant number of hype beers and several bottles of soju.
Hey, hang on. Then we go out on the town where you have to continue eating. You have to order a chicken bowl or something just so you can have beers at somewhere.
Kimchi chicken.
감사합니다. They won't let you have beers in many establishments unless you order some food. So yeah, it's a funny rule they have. It's a bit like you're not
still one of the most annoying fucking places I've been for compliments. When I was on Jeju and went out in
Jeju
nightclub.
Jeju.
And this bloke comes up going, the barman, he went, because obviously quite tall, white guy. And, you're good looking, man. Wayne Rooney. And I'm like, you motherfucker. But he was being nice. Rooney. He thought he was complimenting me.
He wasn't he, in a way? He didn't know that Wayne Rooney was a little active with grannies.
He's a pretty minging granny shagger,
Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah, he didn't know that at the time. And an excellent footballer at one point in his life. So
more so when you look back at his career, surprisingly good, which I don't think anyone appreciated at the time. So
he was amazing.
Yeah, that was it.
Guy was a genius, especially when he was younger. So where would you go next? First off, you went to Wales.
Yeah.
Where are you going next?
I'm jumping back in the balloon. I'm keeping the Welsh branding.
Obviously.
There's no changes on that.
Now you got the flag on the side of the balloon.
Big dragon.
You'd have a Welsh flag on there the whole time.
100%. Yeah. You've got no option as a Welsh person. You have to travel with some sort of Welsh flag somewhere in your possession on display.
That'd look badass, wouldn't it? Actually, a hot air balloon with a Welsh flag on it.
Decent. People would shit themselves. A dragon in the sky. But no, I would be going straight to New York City. One of my favourite cities in the world. Some people hate it. I love it. I think it's got a chilled out place, despite the fact that it's like 100 miles an hour. There's so many places where you can just sit and people watch. Food is outstanding. And I would be going straight to Eileen's special cheesecake store to get the best New York cheesecake in the world. Oh. And without a shadow of a doubt, I'm going to be sat in the park over the road from the cheesecake store, and I'm going to be drinking cask 1834 of the Inchmurin Chardonnay wine yeast cask, which smells and tastes of New York cheesecake. So
Only some that became available at auction.
It did come available at auction, and no one told me, and the person that knows I'm hunting it went and bought it for himself. So thank you, Brian. Big shout out.
Knife in the back.
Yeah, absolute Judas, but hey.
Hey, he'll enjoy that.
Exactly, he will. He'll make it taste even better.
Even better.
So yeah, that's an easy one for me. New York City, amazing whiskey, amazing cheesecake. Love the place. Happy to chill out. How about you? Where is next after Seoul?
I was, do you know what? I'm gonna go lively and then end with a chilled out one. So first off, I've gone somewhere fairly lively but classy, I think. Next one, I'm going to go mega lively. So I was thinking about all the places that I've been, and you've got all these adventure places and jungles in Sri Lanka, or chilling out with the locals in Vietnam or Cambodia, or the absolute madness of Hong Kong. But then I couldn't get out of my head, as of all the places I've been, one of the places which a lot of people have been, but you cannot say it is not incredible, is Las Vegas.
True.
And I would love to fly in the hot air balloon with Tumblr Club, #Tumblr Club on the side, and come down low over the Bellagio, just as they were playing like something incredible as the fountains were going off.
Yeah.
Right? I remember being there, and we picked up this limo outside like the hotel. We wanted to get to go basically to the Bellagio to go and visit it. And being Vegas, like this limo driver just went to us, "Oh, I'll take you in the limo." We're like, "Hang on, isn't that cost a fortune?" He's like, "Nah, I'm just waiting around anyway." He's like, "I'll run you over there in the limo and I'll come back, no problem." And so basically charged us the same it would cost for 2 taxis to take the limo into the town centre.
Fucking love it.
It's just so Vegas, isn't it, right? So we get out, and then, they've got some sort of opera music or something playing, and the fountains are going off, and they go off every 15 minutes or every hour or something like that. And you watch them, and it's such an incredible display. It doesn't matter. It's man-made. It's amazing. Everyone should see it. It's one of the best things. You're out with your friends. You're on a night out. You watch the fountains. So I would fly in, watch the fountains, land just in front of the hotel, chuck the hot air balloon key to the valet.
Valet that.
Say, valet that, bitch. Swan in with the crew, and we'll go in, and basically I'd have the best steak they do at the Bellagio, done medium rare, and I'd drink with it. I'm going to have Lagavulin Distillery Edition PX.
Nice.
Because we're session. Well, this is one glass. We're sessioning it, right? Yeah. I love the Pedro Jimenez.
Pedro Jimenez.
16-year-old Pedro Jimenez. I love it. I just think it's only 43%, so it wouldn't be my pick when I'm having a whiskey on my own. But a whiskey with food doesn't need to be ultra strong, right? Yeah. So I'd have that, and then afterwards, I was thinking nod to Paul and Ardno, and there's many whiskies that I could pick to have a cigar, but I'm going to shout out that future club release that we got to try.
Dear God.
That incredible quarter cask monster. And afterwards, we'd go out and we'd have a glass of that with a cigar afterwards, sitting on the terrace or whatever outside of the Bellagio.
I've been eyeing up the samples all week, mate, for that.
Yeah, well, you said we had to hang on to them.
I think we should.
Yeah, okay, let's hang on to them.
Save it
so
for
what do you
another
think?
Occasion. I think
Bellagio, hot air balloon, land.
Yeah, very good. Vegas. It's hard to beat Vegas. It's hard to beat it.
Yeah.
Anyone that's like, "Oh, Vegas is shit."
No, they're people that don't know how to.
Or they've been there and you've had a bad experience. You need to do Vegas multiple times to understand the city. It is.
Yeah, you just go shoot some guns.
It's
jump off the top of a building.
It's fucking chaos.
Gamble whenever you feel like.
Yeah,
just gamble all times of the day.
We went down
midday poker.
Where did we go? It must have been 2005. Been out during the day, chilled at the pool, went for a few drinks.
Yeah.
And went to Studio 54 and came out of there wankered. Went and did a bit of blackjack. So it was me and one of the boys. Yeah. And we were just playing. We got chatting to the dealer. And he was a maths teacher locally. But he's like, "I make more money doing this 3 shifts a week than I do from teaching." And I was
Which is sad, really, that's the case.
And I was like, so you're a maths teacher, maths expert. You can count cards then. And he was like chuckling away laughing. Next thing, obviously, it's free drinks while you're gambling.
Yeah, as long as you're spending money.
Exactly. Yeah, we're sort of just unaware. It's one of the delights of Vegas. You have no idea what time of day it is, what time of the night it is. And we see this boys coming down in swim shorts and flip-flops, and we're laughing our heads off, going, "Boys, it's closed. You can't come down." They're like, "It's 11 o'clock in the morning, you pair of idiots." And the geezer come in for his next shift. He's like, "You two are not still on the table from last night." We were like, "Yeah, could barely speak." And
because it's 24/7.
He went.
You just don't know.
He was like, "How much?
The lights are on all
how
the
much
time.
down are you both? Because you're clearly down because you can barely speak." And I was like, I think I'm about 500 down. Tom was like, I'm about fucking 800 down. Geezer got us back level. He went, you should probably bet big on this one, boys. And we were like, oh, right, okay, 100. Doom. 21. Doom. And he got us back. He's like, I'm going to have to make you purposely lose some hands. But he basically counted cards for us, got us back. I'll never say where it was. I won't say.
Oh,
what a fucking
nice
legend.
guy.
Like, literally, he was just like, to see us in the state we were in.
Because you must have just been you can tell when people are nice guys, right? And he's just like, do you know, it doesn't matter if the casino.
We were tipping him.
They make so much money.
He made so much money in tips off us. Like, we must have been up.
Oh, so you'd seen him the night before?
Yeah, he was the one that started.
And he came
us.
back.
Yeah, he went for his next shift.
Oh, wow.
And he must have made a good couple of grand off us in tips, because you can't then just clear it out. You have to keep, this guy's fucking saving our bacon here. So we probably gave him probably $2,000 in tips, I reckon. And we broke even. We're like, thank you. You saved us.
Yeah, what a night.
Fucking so much cash.
Oh my days.
Yeah, Vegas, great show. Absolute great show. Love it.
Yeah, cheers.
Yeah.
I'll hear more about that Vegas story sometime when we're not on the pod.
Yeah.
So what's your third place then? You're getting back in the balloon.
The balloon.
Welsh flag on it, and where are you flying to?
So, realistically, I probably should have jumped in with you, because it is a short jaunt from Vegas. I am going straight to California.
But you love America, don't you?
I do love America. So, straight to California. To a little tiny place, and it's called the town's called Independence, and I'm going to the Still Life Cafe, and I'm going to have 2 bacon cheeseburgers with 2 portions of fries
and a milkshake,
Death Valley IPA, and a bottle of Lafroig Brodeer port finished whiskey. This is a memory. So when we did the John Muir Trail in the States and nearly fucking died on numerous occasions because the people I was with didn't prepare properly. So we had to get off the mountain, essentially.
It's like when one of them breaks their leg of the mountain and someone has to come up in a helicopter.
Yeah, like we're talking decent elevations here, not like fucking going up Snowdon and trying to put it on your Instagram. We are talking decent levels of feet. I think it's like 13,000 something feet above sea level. So yeah. We were on the mountain, and Abby, who was with us, started getting really bad altitude sickness. Head was swelling, and you've basically got like 24 hours to get from the state she was in to get back down, or she's dead, like, essentially. So we had to take an unmanned trail off the mountain. You could see no one had taken this trail for fucking years. There's like old fires, all destroyed. And we got down, and we were physically battered. Like, I can't even describe how bad we were physically. Mentally exhausted, physically exhausted. And we got down, and it was about 6 p.m.
And there was you hadn't accumulated any kind of like homeless dogs?
No dogs, no meatballs, bastards. The only sort of wildlife I'd seen were wild bears, and my mate got attacked by a beaver and hid behind me, and I kicked it back in a river.
Beaver.
I have kicked a beaver. Yes, I've kicked a beaver in the face.
It was a beaver, not a honey badger.
It was. No, I'd be dead if it was a honey badger.
It was a honey badger.
But he was an evil little fucker. I'm not going to lie. He deserved it. Hopefully, I knocked one of his big fucking front teeth out.
Badgers is one of those things. Many people haven't met them, so you've got no idea what it's really like.
Yeah.
You know?
Beaver, just aggressive, because we were crossing its.
Oh, sorry, beaver.
Because we were crossing its trail. It was little.
You were in its territory.
Yeah. So he learned his lesson, because I'm nails.
Kicked a beaver.
So yeah,
welcome to another episode of Honest to What with Duncan, blah blah blah, and Mike, who once kicked a beaver.
The beaver kicker. Yeah. Oh Jesus, that could sound like another podcast if I carry on down that route. Yes. So we got down, and everything was shut. Couldn't get no cabs. This is like a tiny, tiny little town that only deals with people that are doing the John Muir Trail. So we started ringing hotels, like, if we get a room, can you come and pick us up? Everywhere was full. We managed to get one room in a hostel type place, and the owner was a wanker, wouldn't pick us up. Fine. Called a restaurant, just went, sorry, we're now just, we are Googling numbers of places in town. And she went, oh, hang on. A French lady answered. She went, oh, I'll get my son. I don't really understand what the hell you're saying. British. Answers, so American kid picks up. He's like, hello. We're like, we're here.
Hello.
We are desperate. We'll come and like order food. He's like, oh, the kitchen's closed. We're all closed today. And we was like,
oh, sounds like the Gardener's Arms in Tostock on a Wednesday evening.
And we were like, oh, man. He's like, where are you? We were like, here. He's like, how the hell are you there? I was like, we explained what happened. He went, stay there. I'm coming to get you. So the owner's son came down, picked us up, like piled us into his car. And when I say we smelt, like I can't explain how bad we smelled after being on the sort of mountain for 12 days. Like you don't smell it because you get used to it, but like you smell like a tramp's foot, like just everywhere. It's disgusting.
You sniffed the tramp's foot, have you?
Many times. We pile into a car
when you were kicking a beef off a tramp to save them.
We pile into this car. He drives us down to the restaurant. They open the restaurant for us. The mum comes in and she's like, "There's pictures of her all over the wall from when she was young, travelled like the world." And I pulled out this Lefroy and I said, "Do you mind if I open this? If I share it with you?" And she went, "Oh, the French love whiskey." And I was like, "It's finished in port.
They do love whiskey, the French."
And she was like, boom. The whole family pulled up tables and we just smashed food, drunk whiskey, and it was just the best.
I love that.
So still massive shout out to the Still Light Cafe. You literally could have saved our lives, essentially. You fed us and watered us at a point where we were
you had a bottle of whiskey on you.
Carried a bottle of whiskey. Carried two, in fact.
Hero.
I had the Lefroy in my bag the whole time. I was saving that for when we finished, which we never did. Annoyance. Yeah. I'll be back.
You finished in a different
I'll be
way.
back. No, we didn't. I was supposed to do 210 miles or something. We didn't do that.
Right. But it also finishes when it comes to an end.
It's a journey, isn't it?
You didn't complete it. You didn't complete it, but it was finished.
And then we had the Adnoc 12 in like a plastic bottle, which I carried with me. Annoc.
Yeah, Adnoc. Look, we have to correct each other. This is...
That's what I said.
Yeah, okay.
What did I say?
It's okay. No, because it was beautiful. The moment
what
was
did
beautiful.
I say?
It doesn't matter. You said Adnoc. It doesn't matter. It's okay. We do that stuff all the time. It's fine.
If I did say Adnoc, I'm going to...
It's just that if I don't correct you, people will assume that I also don't want it.
I'm also going to fact check it because you get so much wrong.
Fact check it with Ryan, okay? Or Brian, whichever one.
So yeah, I carried the Lefroy till I was down, and then during the trip, I was drinking that. I also had a Wild Turkey 101 little miniature.
Oh,
only a little hip flask glass thing.
All the essentials.
And then one of the boys had an Ardbeg Corrivecken. So we drunk that one on Forester Pass, overlooking like fucking this beautiful mountain scene and Welsh flag draped over the rocks because you have to carry one, and shared peated whiskey. So yeah, I'd be back in California, John Muir Trail.
Two double cheeseburgers
and 2 fries with countless beers and Cokes.
Amazing.
Full fat Coke.
Just get the cows back in you.
Yeah.
In the restaurant with the French family.
Yeah, oui, monsieur.
Love it.
Oui, monsieur. How about you? Final destination.
My last one's gonna be more chilled. I'll pick something so really sadly, my wife's mum passed away a few years ago through basically a worse version of Parkinson's. It's called multi-system atrophy, when like the whole body just shuts down over time. And so we were all like, how long is she going to live for? So we had this holiday and we went to Iceland all together, right? Maybe a last giant family holiday. So it's kind of a big deal. And so we had this big lodge thing out, whatever, like cabin, bungalow, whatever you want to call it. It had a pool table and darts board and huge area. Because they're Icelandic people, there was some I checked it out, like the speaker that was in the lounge was like $2,000 or something, right? And it was at a time when A Star Is Born had come out, the movie. And I was really into that soundtrack because of Bradley Cooper and Lady Gaga.
Tell me something, Dunk. Tell me something.
Tell me something. So Maria and I were singing it the whole time, the whole trip. I love like that deep song that he does. So I think that there was already a sort of, there was that going on, even though no one else had listened to it. It's just Maria and I. So we bought beers, we're cooking food. There was a hot tub out the back, and obviously the Northern Lights. So it's the first time I'd ever been to Iceland. I've been to Norway and Sweden. And when you go to Iceland, I think someone else said this when they came on the pod. Of all the countries I go to, some have incredibly strong cultures, but like Japan and India, some of the strongest cultures I've ever been to. If I was ever going to go on like a road trip again or whatever, go Mexico again. West Mexico is incredible, or something like South America. But for like scenery, Iceland, you cannot get your head around it. And so I'd like to be in the hot tub, out the back, watching the Northern Lights, right? Eating some Icelandic fish and chips, because they do that. They do their own, basically, version of our fish and chips. You can get
I bet it's better.
Yeah, of course it is. And I'd just like to have something simple, like Tumbler Club. I'd have an ice bucket next to the hot tub, and I'd just be drinking like some blends, alongside it. So I was thinking what I'd drink. Recently, I tried the Glasgow Tokai on the rocks. That worked. Maybe something like Inchmuir in 12. I mean, really, I wouldn't be too picky.
Yeah.
Something which works well over ice.
Yeah.
Probably something that's not too strong. So,
Nice.
yeah, I mean, take a pick from any Old Perth PX or
Sounds mega, man.
any decent blend. You know, really just smashed on ice whilst I'm having fish and chips, watching Northern Lights in a hot tub. Happy days.
The closest I've got to Iceland is fucking going to Hoxton Street to get frozen food where they did Bittersweet Symphony. That's it.
It was kind of special. It was a special holiday because of that. And we went around and did all the Iceland things you can do,
Kick
you go
shoot beavers.
Yeah. It didn't kick a single beaver on us there. But I remember it was so windy. It was like 60, 70 mile an hour winds. And so if you left your car door open for a moment, the car door would slam or close or bang into another car or
Fuck.
And you go and see all the geysers, geysers, I think, right? Geysers. Go see the geysers.
Go to fucking Iceland.
Geyser. So you go and see the geysers. You also you go to their the natural spa,
the hot springs.
Hot springs. That's it. Oh, it's incredible. And you can get out and it's literally ice around the sides. You're walking around on ice. So you can go on a long walk on ice and snow on your feet and then just get back in.
Did you see any trolls?
And no, that film where there is a troll though is amazing. Whatever that film's called.
Were they speaking Icelandic? Is it Icelandic?
Some sort of version of that. So I was just thinking, there's so many places I haven't been. A lot of places I have been, but I'm going to go with places I have been.
Yeah.
I think those three things would be perfect on a hot air balloon trip. South Korea, Las Vegas, Iceland, back to London.
Nice.
Yeah.
Back to London. London town.
And for any future guests, that's how you do it.
That's how you do it.
That's the level we
I
want.
want stories of your locations.
When you come
I want you kicking
pub.
beavers and
an omission that I left out would probably be Malaysia. Ooh, I could have easily gone for
Tiemann.
What's that curry they do? Rendang. Oh my days. Beef rendang curry.
Yeah.
When we somewhere like Malacca or something.
When we went over from Singapore, we went from Singapore to Tiemann for 4 or 5 days. One of the boys was like, "Yeah, we'll book it," and go to the lads. It's obviously a Muslim country, so you're not allowed to drink, and there's no alcohol on sale. And you go, "All right, boys, where can I get some beer?" And you're like, "Oh, you can't get beer here, I'm afraid, sir." And then you slip them a few quid, and then suddenly some imported beer turns up at your room, scurried away. But they also go out in the morning and go fishing. They're like, "Well, you after? What fish do you want tonight?" And I'm like, "Give me some red snapper. Give me whatever you want."
Oh yeah, red snapper's good.
Yeah. And they come back in. They're like, "Didn't get that, but I got this. What do you reckon?" And they're like, "Yeah, how much is that?" And it's like £1.
I know. Like giant prawns, lobster. I mean, okay, late omission. I won't change my thing.
Yeah.
But when you go to West Malaysia, there's 2 islands. And the fish markets there in Kota Kinabalu, right? The fish markets there, you go and you, like you said, you get $1.50 or $2, and you're getting fresh lobster. They're like, "What sauce do you want?" I'm like, "At this point, I don't care. Look at that lobster. Give me butter. 3 lobster. I want 3 plates of lobster and some cold rubbish lager."
I'd love to have been there.
Garlic sauce, man. Garlic sauce.
Before I'd spent the week in Singapore watching the F1. Because at that point I was broke.
Yeah, the F1 Singapore so good. But you've got like these. You're sitting on these rubbish plastic chairs, like the cheapest ass plastic chairs you've ever seen in your life.
Eating
lobster for like
like
$1.50, right? And you're like, this lobster would be like 80 quid in a restaurant back home, and all you've got to suffer is the absolutely ludicrously bad plastic chairs.
And sandflies.
But sometimes the chairs do give way on people, and a leg folds. Yeah. So it's a little dicey.
It's good. That's a great show. That's a good little Brucey bonus.
There's so many places. Maybe we'll do Hot Air Balloons Part 2 in the future. We'll see. But for now, it is what it is.
Yes.
Thank you very much if you've left a review recently. If you like the pod, Leave us a 5-star review. We really appreciate it, and it helps to share and spread the pod love.
Thank you if you're a new listener from the Ardnahoe fan club. Paul has spread the word for us as well. So welcome. If you're a new listener, if you're an old listener, hello. Welcome back. The door is always open for you. Again, just as a reminder, we're going live on YouTube. It was on the 31st of August, now on the 1st of September at 8:30 in the evening. So yeah, if you want to, if you're able to, come join us for a dram. And for the first one, we're going to be just reviewing previous episodes, doing some blind drams live.
You're going to be
we're
eating
going to be
a slice of dry toast.
I'm going to be going for world records to eat dry toast. I'm going to fail magnificently, although I could practice.
Sav's bland drams. That's it now. Sav's bland drams.
I love it. But yeah, so we'll be on there. If you're bored with nothing to do, feel free to pop along live on YouTube. We'll have all the links out shortly on social media when we work out how the hell we do it. We need a name for the episode.
I think Ben suggested that we should let people try to help us come up with a name for the lives.
Yeah,
so
fair dues. Okay.
Listen, we get to make executive decision on it.
Yeah.
Okay. We're not calling it like
the Beaver Kicker.
Totally dumb. Beaver Kicker. What are we doing this evening? I'm watching Beaver Kicker. What's that?
Do you know what?
They're guys that drink whiskey.
The views would go through the roof. Oh, God. All right. Well, thank you very much for listening, everyone. And we will catch you on the next one. Follow us in all the usual places at honestandmalt.com, at honestandmalt on all socials. And we will catch you soon. Bye, bye, bye.
Bye, bye, bye.
Duncan, 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 Duncan.
You can lead the Worcester Horror and they might have a drink, yeah.